17 after 7, right here on Radio 2000. This is Life, Love and All. We apologize for coming to you slightly late, but we had to take the very important news of the matric results that came out. And this is a hearty congratulations that should be going out to the matriculants who have passed 80%. This is great. We are looking forward to that number improving. But let's not start politics now. I have my issues with the one side being 98.4 and the one side being 80%. I'd love to see it grow together, but I'm thinking in the right direction. 2021 was 76.4, so now we're 80% or so. 80.1, that is. We're doing well. There's an improvement. Hello and welcome to Life, Love, and All. We thank you very much for joining us. It's a Thursday evening in the first hour. Gogo Manjoro is here. So we'll be talking to you about the role of Rakgadi. Rakgadi, Dabawo, Utabs, that paternal aunt. That's who we are talking about in the family and African spirituality. That's in the first hour. And in the second hour, we'll have sexual health. Dr. Evelyn Mushoko will be talking to us about all your sexual issues that you may have. So, how's everything going under the sheets? That's what we'll be asking you. So you can call us and we'll take your calls from the get-go, actually. So call us on 086-000-2479 or you can send us a WhatsApp on 060-584-2250. Yeah? For now, though, time for African spirituality with Gogo Manjoro.
Life, Love and All, every Monday to Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. with Mapaseka Mokwele on Radio 2000.
And a quick reminder before we start the show that with Valentine's Day merchandise already making their way into the shops and the shop windows, now's the perfect time to get thinking about finding the perfect business insurance partner. An insurer who'll go the extra mile to understand your specific risk factors to give you a customized insurance solution backed with nothing but awesome service. SMS business to 31715 for a business outsurance quote. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
All things spiritual with Gogo Manjoro on Life, Love and All with Mapaseka Mokwele, Radio 2000. Call Mapaseka Mokwele now on 086-000-2479. Send your voice notes on WhatsApp to 060-584-2250.
All right, so it's 20 after 7 right here on Radio 2000. We are live. We're coming to you live. Of course, we're on your radio. You can hear us now. But we are also live on our YouTube channel and on Radio 2000. So make sure you check us out there on our Facebook page, all of that. We are there and you can see us. Gogo Manjoro is with me in the studio. And Gog, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mapaseka.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Happy New Year, happy birthday, happy yonke.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed your birthday and it was good.
I did, thank you.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. You know, Rakgadi is a very important part of our African heritage. Rakgadi, maybe let me put it to you this way. Explain to us what spiritually Rakgadi stands for. Because I think when we talk our African heritage, we know who Rakgadi is. But we also know that Rakgadis have a very bad reputation.
Yes.
Hey, they have a bad rep, eh?
Yes.
But let's talk about it. Who is Rakgadi in terms of Amazos?
Rakgadi plays a role no less than our parents, no less than our grandparents. So Rakgadi is responsible for the unity and she's also responsible for strengthening family relationships. So I can say ukuthi Rakgadi uyo la khaya and uyo futhi okwazi
ukudiliza and they do diliza. Yes. But you know, that said, Rakgadi and we're specifically talking about Rakgadi. Let's explain. Rakgadi is your dad's sister. That's Rakgadi. So your paternal aunt. That's the person that we're talking about. And the importance of Rakgadi, whatever happens in the family does not start
without
Rakgadi, right? The person who is actually supposed to be the custodian of what happens in Zin.
Yes.
Rakgadi. And even if Rakgadi eshadile,
uyabuya.
And
Yeah.
because so for example, I'm a Rakgadi,
Yes,
okay, but it's important that I still know the Makoti side of things
true.
because my brother's children have me as a Rakgadi.
Most definitely, as Mapaseka.
So, hey, yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a tough one because if uRahadi rejects the family, impilo zabantwana ziyama most of the time, because that's where they get their blessings.
Manje mabasile abaRakgadi senzani?
Ibanzima.
Can you yeah, this is me talking about can you cut off Rakgadi and
I always say to people, mpaphathele from far, mhloniphe, mthande from far.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and niyamhlonipha mina and niyamthanda from far. But there's
Yes.
things that uRakgadi will need. For example, there's rituals that would need to be performed by uRakgadi.
Yeah.
Right? What then happens when Rakgadi is not interested in being part of the solution?
Then kuyathethwa nedlozi,
Okay.
kuyakhulunywa nedlozi, ngoba nabantu abadala bayazi ukuthi bamshiya njani ekhaya.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay. So bayakwazi ukumkhipha.
Yes, bayakwazi ukuthi whatever embi ayenzayo, that's the reason abaningi aborhadi abacala bayenza izinto ekhaya nizobona ngengane zabo, ngoba ngisho ushaya ekhaya ushaya igazi lakhe.
I see. Yo. Okay, hold on. We've got Dr. Zulu Mathawa Zulu. Ke batla hore Makeba mara ke bone ko TV.
Thokozani
So
mkhulu.
ngane ka re Makeba,
Makeba.
Ndaba ezitha. Siyajabula kakhulu baba to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Talk to us about the role or the core role that impacts the family so much. The role Garachadi.
Yes, so Rahadi is an extremely important, member of the family. But maybe to give a much broader perspective, is to let's start off with defining the name Rahadi. What does it really mean?
Ke khadi ya tsona.
Yeah. So if you analyze that word Rahadi, so there's Ra, there's Hadi. So Ra, of course, is a spirit, is a god, is a sun god. That is Ra. And that is, of course, the god that uses the masculine principle. And then Hadi basically refers to the responsive one. So essentially the name Rahadi means the responsive one. So meaning the one that responds, to the issues that impact the survival experience of the people. So now, to give you a big picture, so basically the way the social system is designed in three parts, which I normally call the three defensive rings.
Okay.
So ring one would be the clan, like for example, Omkonazi, Bomfuking, Bomloi, and stuff like that. So that will be ring one. And then these are concentric rings. So ring two, which goes into ring one, is gonna be Bomalume Borahadi. That's where Rahadi comes in. She's ring two. And then Gogo and so forth. And then ring one is a biological family where the child is born.
Okay.
So the indigenous system is designed as a three-ring system. So it's designed in such a way that, a child, if the biological parents of the child were to, for example, disappear, whatever the case might be, that child is not exposed to adversity, to the harsh ground. In other words, the child falls on the mattress instead of falling on the hard ground. So the Rahadi then, from ring two, plays a very important role in the sense that she is the one who has to make sure that, for example, the rituals are performed, in terms of the birth of the child, and also in terms of lobola, when marriage has to take place, stuff like that. And also in terms of naming ceremony, what is known as Romo. And she also plays a strategic role in terms of governance. We see that, for example, in great Rahadis like Mugabai, during the days of King Shaka. So when the father of King Shaka, Senzangakhona, when he passed on, and the father, of course, was the brother to Mugabai, then they favored Gujani to be the king. but actually the Lokota along with Rakgadi did not agree with that. So what ended up happening is that King Shaka is the one who came to power. So in that case, we see Rakgadi playing a kingmaker role. So he really has a powerful role in terms of governance, in terms of the economy, what Basud called Mafisa, which is economy that is owned by the clan. So she plays a very big role, really. It's a very critical role, and we can't discount the role of Rakgadi.
You know, Rakgadi is, and this is the very important thing that we also need to talk about. Rakgadi doesn't only play a role in terms of the family that is already in existence, but Rakgadi, when there's a new wife that comes into play, Rakgadi is the one who actually should be holding the hand of this new wife, right?
Correct.
Passing on amasigo, passing on whatever needs to be done, whatever needs to be known by the family.
Correct.
And the eldest Rakgadi is usually the one.
Most definitely.
What happens when, and of course I heard you say Uti Yoshaya Abak Abantwana if Rakgadi is not doing things right. But I'm now worried about can the younger Rakgadi then take over? That's one.
Akangalungile uRakgadi omkhulu. Kuyavumeleka ukuthi lo landelayo amncedise.
What if Abafun? She's not doing anything wrong. She's just not interested.
Lo mkhulu.
Yeah.
Ayikho into engizoyenza ngisho ngoba anikwazi ukuthi nimforce ukuthi ayenze imisebenzi ngenhliziyo engalungile.
Yeah.
Funeka inhliziyo yakhe ivuleke azokwazi ukuthi akafike emsamo bamuzwe ngendlela.
Yeah, sure. But you know, my worry about Rakgadi is that the relationship is very important. But there's also a power dynamic then that comes in. So how do we maintain, is there a way that it has been done, for example, Utu or Tatubao would know Uti, as far as I'm of course very important here, but I need to play my role. You know, how do we enforce it?
Angisho
And I don't want to say enforce because it sounds like you're pushing them.
Yeah. Konke kuqala kusaphila abogogo nabomkhulu.
Right.
Those are the people abafuneke manje badelegate so that each and every person knows their role in the family.
Right.
It's not something ezoyenzeka sebangasekho. The teachings needs to come from the elders. So iqale ibuyele emuva, iqala khona la.
So it's something that was probably not done.
Yes.
And then ugia phambili, that's where the issue is. What happens? Ngamadlozi.
Akuyenzakalani?
Ngoragadi.
Ngoragadi.
Uragadi lo.
Eh.
Is there a guidance of sort that Amadlozi need to give Uragadi? Is there, you know, besides ababadala, my parents, even if your parents are gone, nothing that can be done, but does she have a direct, closer relation with, you know, more than umalume? How does that work?
No, cha, umalume no auntie.
No Ragadi.
No Ragadi.
Yeah.
They equal.
Okay.
They equal. That's the reason funeke bahlonishwe ngokufana. Noma bangathi umalume o Ragadi bathu yisidakwa akahlonipheki. But akufuneke aze ekhaya azoyenza umsebenzi wakhe, muvumeleni azoyenza umsebenzi wakhe.
Enjalo.
Aluka njalo, aluka isidakwa anjalo. Angisho kuleso sidakwa uzobazima ka erole yakhe emndenini.
If yes.
Ibuyela kuphi emuva ukuthi abantu abadala bashiya ikhaya linjani. That's why it's imperative for abantu abadala to share their family knowledge, history and wisdom, principles. Basaphila ngoba it's not something ezotholakala bangasekho.
Yeah, no. Makeb.
Yebo.
Okay, your line is sounding good. You know, when we are talking about Uragadi and the importance of Uragadi, and we're talking now, Ukoko Uti, abantu abadala are actually the ones who are supposed to introduce. Have you noticed, all them sebenzis, when there is a lobola negotiation or things like that, and a Ragadi arrives, we know that we've got the most difficult character in the room.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because you see, Ragadi is very powerful. Sorry, I think my line was not great. But anyways, Ragadi is very critical because, you know, she's the messenger of the gods. She is Nyanya. That's very critical. You see that? And that's why she performs these sacrosanct rituals. So in terms of, for example, when it comes to Lobola, she plays a big role. Now check this out. Check the name Rahadi. And Lobola is called Mahadi. See, there's a connection there.
What Mahadi? Okay. Well, I suppose I can have a Mahadi. Okay.
Or Mahadi Gaston.
Okay.
So, yes. So she's very much connected to that. And Rahadi, so she is the one who gives the essence of that Lobola negotiation, for example. Rahadi is very powerful because, check this out, Rahadi is not only in terms of the bloodline, like, for example, being the brother to the father, or the brother to the, being the sister to the brother or the king, for example. Rahadi is also very critical even in terms of marriage. Like, if she gets married, the Rahadi gets married, for example. So the husband becomes Rahadi. He acquires the name of Rahadi.
He is also Rahadi, yes.
Although people don't do that much these days, but when you are in funerals, especially of the Basotho, Batswana, you'll hear people say, Kana mo repata Rahadi, referring to the man.
Yes. Yes.
You see that? That's very powerful.
Yes.
And so she's very critical that way because she is a kingmaker, as for example we've seen with Mkabai. You know, the family of Senzangakona, after Senzangakona passed on, they selected somebody else to be the king, like for example Gujan. But Rahadi and the Lhota did not approve of that. And eventually what happened? King Shaka came to power and he became the king. And who was the kingmaker? It was Rahadi Mkabai. And we've also seen other situations, like, for example, Mantatisi among the Basotho.
Yes.
Mantatisi was a military general, for example. You see that? So she plays a big role in terms of governance. And that's why in the Lobola she becomes important, because she is there to make sure that the governance rules of Lobola are observed. And izinto zihamba ngendlela yezinyanya.
So it's not necessarily ukuthi yena nje uyazenzela Rahadi. But this is what I wanted us to get to. There's a lot of Rahadis who think theirs is to put down the law. So theirs is not to put down the law, but it is to enforce the law that has already been there.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. They have to enforce the rules that are already there. But remember, Rahadi also has this policy-making function, but usually policy-making function is a collective thing. You see, Rahadi could chair that governance meeting at the level of a clan or at the level of the family. You see, but it's a collective thing, but she has to drive it. You see that? Because remember that the African family is a matrilineal system. It's not a patriarchal system. That's a very important point to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see that? So that's why even Malume is important. The reason that Malume is important is because he comes from the women's side. Yes. So it is a matrilineal system.
Okay, so Harlon Samahadis, for example, now we are going to Lobola,
yes,
right? And we are putting together a delegation, all right? Bo Maditsela.
Yes.
Yes.
Bo Maditsela. Now, who do you, or
I like that.
How do you choose them? One, you would choose Rahadi by virtue of being Rahadi, right?
Yes.
But then you would still need to have Malume.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So are we then saying Rahadi and Malume are actually on the same level?
Yes.
Yes, we can say that, yes. But it is important to say that Rahadi is higher.
Correct, Uncle.
But yes, Rahadi is higher. That's why you look at that Hadi or Hadi. You see, for example, if she's a ruler, they will say Hosi Hadi.
Correct, Uncle.
You see, but Haile Munna Batara Sala Hosi.
Ke Khadiato.
Ke Khadiato.
Yeah, ke Khadiato.
Hadi means supremacy, supreme.
Yes.
Aha. Now I want to hear from our listeners. Are they actually playing the role as they should be or not? Because I find a lot of people, their complaints are usually my paternal side. Oh, bayenza kanje na kanje na kanje na kanje. Do you know what I mean? It's very common,
Yes.
that complaint.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that Rakgadi issue a few years ago when Ulebo passed away, sadly, and it was just disappointing to see a Rakgadi behave in that manner. But what do you do now? The children are now standing up against Rakgadi, protecting their mother. Who's wrong? What happens? What does Rakgadi do in that position? Do you stand up and actually be the one who creates the violence, or what do you do?
Rahad is the one that needs to bring unity, needs to bring peace. Rahad is the one that tells everybody to calm down. Ahlalen phansi sixoxisane sixolelane.
As cool men.
Yes.
So law oyenza the opposite.
Uvele kube inkinga sesiMapaseka.
Can you just, and I asked this earlier, Makeba, can you just stand up one day and just decide, okay, as in angsampun lo Rakgadi. Akusuwi, angimfuni.
Okay. So you see, in a case where now you have these issues like a dysfunction, that basically there we are now dealing with a broken system.
Yes.
And any system, once it's broken, it doesn't give us a good output.
No.
And we must take action to correct the system. So, unfortunately, the days we are living in today, we're living during the phenomenon of the father absence.
Mm-hmm.
The statistics say that more than 2/3 of black families have no father. So that means out of 10 families, only 3 have a father. The 7 does not. And our statistics are the highest in Africa. They are also the highest in the world. So we have a big problem in that sense. Now, why I'm raising this point? That's because there is a word in Sesotho called Pedi, in Zulu.
That is called, what's
Pedi.
the Pedi?
Pedi, yes. And that word Pedi means, if you analyze that word, there's 2 parts. There's Pe and there's Di. Pe means existence, something that exists. For example, Pepe, the antelope, it exists. That's why it has got the Pe. It's called Pepe. Also, Pe means something you cannot exist without. For example, Pimu, there's a Pe there, and you cannot survive without Pimu.
Oh.
Okay, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back to this point. I actually think we need to touch on that a bit more. When you said Ben, I heard hor irepe. But anyway, let's take a break.
Call Mapaseka Mokwele now on 086 000 2479.
Sending an SMS message with One Life Funeral and your name to 45690 or enter online at radio2000.co.za to have an even better chance at winning. Then if your call is taken live on air, answer your phone with the phrase "Changing Lives" to win prize money. Listen out for the One Life Funeral competition and you can win daily prizes of 3,000 Rand from Monday to Thursday. Then all entries from the week stand in line to win the grand prize of 12,000 Rand, which will be drawn on Friday. Enter now to stand a chance to win your share of 24,000 Rand that can change you and your family's lives. SMSs charged at 1 Rand 50 each. Free SMSs do not apply. One Life is a licensed life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online. Visit onelife.co.za for a quote. One Life, changing lives.
Rhythm at Dawn with Mapaseka Mokwele brings you a new movement, the Union Dance with Fang the Rhythm.
I just want to see you again. Put a smell on you.
Every Friday at 5:30 on Radio 2000. Our music, your memories. All things spiritual with Gogo Manjoro on Life, Love and All with Mapaseka Mokwele, Radio 2000.
18 minutes to go to 8 o'clock, and we're talking about the role of Rakgadi, the role of Utabs, Tatubawo, your paternal aunt, in the African family and the African spirituality and all of that. what role does she play? Who is she, and how important is she in that space? But also, what you don't just wake up and say I'm important, but you're not doing anything. What are you playing your role as Rakhadi? Are you actually doing what needs to be done as a Rakhadi? Do your children even know you? Because those are your children.
Exactly.
So your brother's children are your children.
Definitely.
Just before I take a few voice notes, you were explaining something, Makeb.
I was explaining the principle of baby.
Yes.
To say that this principle of baby is sacrosanct. It's a sacred principle. That's why there are people who call baby, because they were given this cosmology by their ancestors to teach others about the sacrosanct principle of baby. Baby basically means in order for something to exist, it must be based on the minimum of two inputs, the feminine principle and the masculine principle. So, for example, you can never have a new life without the feminine and the masculine. So that baby is critical. Even the universe, the cosmos, is designed like that. It's designed with baby. You've got an electron, which gives you a negative charge. You've got a proton that gives you a positive charge. You can't violate that principle. So now, even a bird cannot fly with one wing. It requires two wings to fly. So what that means is that the social system has been designed in such a way that, as I was talking about the three rings, now in ring 2, you've got Rakhadi, but you also have Malume. You see that? And so you need that balance. If you violate that principle, you are going to have chaos. And that's where we are at today because of this tragic phenomenon of the father absence.
Yeah.
And as African descendants, we need to tackle this issue and solve it. Otherwise, we are all going to be decimated. So that's why we run into situations today where you're going to find there is Rakhadi somewhere, and this Rakhadi is dysfunctional. You know, there's Malume somewhere, he is dysfunctional. Because the principle of baby has been broken.
Okay, let's go to the voice notes that we have. Let's hear. I'm thinking that there'd be questions as well. Let's hear.
Sis Mapaseka kunjani nawe gogo? Mina gogo ngicela ukubuza. Mina owami uRakhadi mangihamba ngithi ngiyokwenza into zami ngiyohlola into zami uyavela lo Rakhadi ukuthi uyoganayo. So loyo muntu ngizomsondeza kanjani empilweni yami? Mina ngiyazi ukuthi sengiyazi ukuthi uyi. But ngiyamhlonipha, ngiyambingelela. Uyayibona le nto gogo.
Sure. Yo, Makeb. Nezwa ngithi.
Yes.
Gogo.
Yes.
So Rakhadi is actually the problem. So what does he do in that sense? Does he then turn a blind eye? He can't. This is his life. So what happens?
No. Yeah, it must be tackled. I think one of the biggest problems we have in our families is that when the problem is there, we do not tackle it because there is a sense of taboo about tackling reality, for example. And reality is something that we need to tackle. But always the best way is always siboka, meaning, you need to have that assembly within the family that can then look at this issue objectively. But you need siboka, because without siboka, you are simply going to have confrontation, stuff like that. So I think siboka is a key factor in this case, just to have that. In my book called The Sacred Knowledge of the Desert, African Philosophical Transcendence, I talk about Lichoba, where I describe the use of Lichoba. So in the ancient past, Lichoba was used in the Lhotla as a system that was used for discourse. So, for example, when the Lhotla began, the meeting of the Lhotla started, the chairperson of the Lhotla would then distribute this Lichoba to the person who's speaking. So when this person is speaking, nobody can interrupt that person. Even if we don't like what they say, but we have to listen to what they say because we don't have a Lichoba in our hands.
course.
So that's why even among the Sangoma does not speak without the Choba, for example.
Okay.
Of
I
course.
get that. Here's my question though. Where Pagama you want to go and talk. You don't want to be telling people that you were hloling. Let's start there and let's Uguti, you are there uyohlola in now into zakho.
Okay.
So
Yes.
there's also those difficulties. So what advice do we give him now? Can he go ayotandaza or ayocela uguti lo auntie because she's the one who's doing 1, 2 and 3. Ngicela nimsuseni phambi kwami so that I don't deal with this auntie. Can he do? I want to give him a practical solution right now because unfortunately, families as well, they are not so well equipped for people to say, let's have Sibuka.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That is the ideal, but right now we're not seeing that. So what advice are we giving?
Yeah, so in that particular case, I think it would be great to have an extended, somebody from outside who can actually be intervened, because naturally people will respect an outside. Like, for example, in Ngaba Mhlambe Nyanga or in Ngaba Sangoma, somebody who's very familiar with the rituals, right? And it must be an open thing with the Yazin Sininking Alapa. So ukhona umuntu esimcela esimtholile ukuthi angasimeda ukuthi sibe nengxoxo silungise le ndaba, but it should really be somebody from outside, because if somebody from outside, then there is a sense of respect towards that person, because they are not going to respect anybody coming from the family, for example, in this particular case.
Sure. Truth be told, if Rachadi is doing something and you say Nkono Mutonga Pantu is going to help us, Rachadi is going to be the first one to say, Angege.
Obviously.
Angimfuni loyo muntu loyo. But let's, okay.
Again, another thing ekhona ukuyenzeka siyazi ukuthi asiba nenkinga nabazali uyakwazi ukukhuluma another elder ukuthi akuphahlele ukuthi bogogo nabomkhulu ngiyacela umama uyangihlukumeza ngisimo isinje nesinje ngicela nithintshe inhliziyo yakhe akwazi ukungibheka songengane yakhe angifisela ukuhle.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do the same.
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, let's take the next voice note.
Hey, Mapaseka, this is a very, very, very interesting topic today. Aborakadi vele yo abasile aborakadi. Mapaseka, I heard Gog saying something about Orakadi Magasile. Ushapa moye na pele. Like something like that, because most of your no man, something is not adding up.
Connecting off. But you know, I tell you now, I like life being fair like that.
Yes.
I don't need to do anything to you because you've done something to me. When we yenzile abakuphendule.
Yes.
Abakuphendulayo.
Yes.
Now uzobona ukuthi manje abama abantwana. Anyway, let's take a quick break. When we come back, take more voice notes.
Life, love and all every Monday to Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. with Mapaseka Mokwele on Radio 2000.
We have different languages and cultures, but what we have in common is that we all want a dignified funeral and for our loved ones not to worry about money when the time comes. Trust Clientele to provide you with affordable funeral cover that will pay out within 24 hours. SMS Radio 2000 to 49708. That's Radio 2000 to 49708. SMS now. Clientele Life is a licensed life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates, terms and conditions apply.
Leicester City can't wait for the day of the big clash against Brighton and Hove Albion, with victory ringing in their mind to go up the ladder of the Premier League.
Tielemans, oh what a strike from the Belgian international.
Brighton are hitting themselves in the chest and they will fight with all they have to steal the show away from home.
He's done well, Trossard. Can he finish? This time he can.
Who will have the final say when the ref blows his final whistle? The Foxes or the Seagulls? Catch the home of global stars, the Premier League clash between Leicester City and Brighton and Hove Albion on Saturday, 21 January, live at 4 p.m. on S3. Hashtag We Love It Here. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Mapaseka Mokwele on Radio 2000. All things All things spiritual with Gogo Manjoro on Life, Love and All with Mapaseka Mokwele, Radio 2000.
All right, so all things spiritual. Let's hear the voice notes. We are talking about Urahadi Utatbabo. And that person. Arutlebare.
Dumelang Asmapaseka le Gogo. And I have Rakadi. I left with 2 Rakadi. So they did negotiation ya mahadi. When they are while busy negotiating Diloza Mahari, the day that the side of my husband come, Rakadi, she was there. But when they are busy negotiating, she decided to leave.
Hi.
Up to now, I didn't talk with my Rakadi. I didn't check my Rakadi like I'm living my own life. She's living his own life. But she's so, like, she's rather Rakadi that I can't even, when I have my problem, to go and talk to her.
Sure, that's not nice. Let's hear another voice note.
Good evening. Most of the time, I've realized that there are Kadis that are, like, let's say I'm married. There are Kadi from the married side seem to have more power than the Rakadi from the unmarried side. So, from the unmarried side, where does the child fall? Does the Rakadi have a word there? Because the child still belongs to the maternal side. Thank you.
No, but hold on. Rakadi remains Rakadi. On the one side, on the mom's side. But Rakadi remains Rakadi, whether you're married, whether that child's parent is married or not, remains Rakadi.
Yes.
But now, the question is, does she play the same role? You know, Abanyamantu, they say, umtanendombi. Okay? Can Rakadi still ngena in the issues zega umtana kelabo?
Umtanendombi?
Yes.
Yes, because they're the ones that actually guide them through puberty.
But abanga shatang. So mina no baby as shatanga siba nomdana, right? Nomdana uputwam. No, my sister, no, usisiga husband. Urahadi. Angis? But as shatang, is she still allowed to come in?
Yes,
and perform any rituals or whatever?
As long as bamenzele a rite of passage. As long as bahlawula kwabongwa isibongo balobola.
Ingane.
Yes, she's
Right.
allowed.
Okay. All right, that answers it. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right. Let's answer. Okay, we're not getting that one. Let's go to the one just before this one. There's a, you know, this Rakhadi that is not doing things, walked away and never been seen again.
I've seen worse.
And then what happens?
I've seen worse. Funeka baqhubeke. Laba bakhona funeka baqhubeke.
So do you go back? Does Rakhadi come and say sorry ning, or do you go to Rakhadi and ncenga? What happens? Makeba kwenza njani? Dr. Zulu, are you still with us?
My coach, yes, my coach.
Yeah. Into what
I was
happened?
just sidetracked here because Inja kane bohula mona so.
Oh, Ibona Rakhadi. Okay. Hey, so what happens now?
Yeah, can you just rehash that question here, Rakhadi?
No. There was a caller who said Rakhadi during the Lobola negotiations, Rakhadi walked out and never been seen.
Walked out during the negotiation.
Yes, and she never came back. They've never had a relationship ever since. What happens in a situation like that?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So obviously there's a problem there. Because I know what happens during the negotiation is that we are negotiating in terms of how many cows and stuff like that. So obviously, and then she was not accommodated today.
Yeah, but here's my thing. Why do people make things about them? You are there ukhulumela umntana emshadweni, right? So why are you making it about you? Why are you not stopping and saying, hold on, guys? This is what we want to do, this is what we want to see, and fix it. You're walking away and ushiye nomntana lapho, and she's never seen nomntana ever since, then what?
Yeah, and that's not good, really, because usually what happens in that case is that if there is any issue, let's say there's a disagreement about the number of cows and stuff like that, usually they ask for recess, so by the table, I get it. But in this case, it looks like so this type of issue is very tough, and maybe that personality you may not really be able to solve it because Mutwating is the highway.
Yeah, then
unfortunately.
Actually, you're better off without them. You're better off without that, Rakhadi. That's not right.
See, that one is kind of it cannot be fixed. That one, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to one more voice note, just a quick one before we wrap up. I know we have about a minute to go.
Hello, Mapaseka. Nene problem. Grato ba anonymous. Kina le bu Rakhadi ba babedi mara. Kore since tata re na tlhokofala ka 2000 kore ne azanga ba kenela kore na azanga ba krela selo mo bophelong, like kore lo tsa rena di emile kore ko bona a tlhokofetse, so a re sa exista ko maphelong a bona, so e lo tsa o le sa o tsamele pile, so we ra byang or lo tsa di kganyete.
So what do you do? Rakhadi ba teng but ha ba sa la acknowledge because abuti bona ha sa le.
Yeah. And in that particular case, there is really not much you can do. So for some reason, they've decided they don't want to have anything to do with the family. In that particular case, I think I would say that it would be important to be able to perform some kind of a ritual with the spirit that will kind of open the way going forward. Because you can't force those Rakhadi in your life. They really don't want to have anything to do
maybe you're better off. Maybe
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Let's wrap it up, Gogo.
Another thing, Uboti can communicate na baba mncane. Abo baba mncane can assist.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So bayakhona ukuqhubeka.
So bayakwazi ukucela nabo ukuthi okay.
Yes.
Bazoma esikhundleni.
Yes.
And then be able to continue.
Correct.
All right, we got that. Thank you so much. Thank you to both of you. Makeba siyabonga. Siyabonga kakhulu. Gogo, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Mapaseka.
We'll be with you again soon. If you're a Rakhadi out there and you're actually treating people like that, Shem, I hope it comes back to you. I really hope it comes back. I really hope you pay with everything you have until we are all right, because let's see. I wrong, let's do. Time for the news. On the Lambano on standby.
Life, love, and all every Monday to Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. with Mapaseka Mokwele on Radio 2000. If you missed it, catch the rewind on radio2000.co.za.
SABC News. Independent and impartial.